Welcome back to AZ Automotives Review, the place where engineering, power, and innovation come together. Today, we are stepping into the world of industrial giants. Machines that don't just move vehicles or lift engines, but machines that build the very foundations of our modern world. This is not a car, not a motorcycle, and not even a yacht. Today, we are talking about a mechanical powerhouse that dominates factories, workshops, shipyards, and construction sites. Today's focus is the overhead crane, one of the most vital and fascinating engineering marvels in the industrial world. When you hear the term overhead crane, you probably imagine a massive steel structure stretching across a factory floor, equipped with heavy-duty hooks and chains, lifting unimaginable weights with ease. And you wouldn't be wrong. But there's more to it. Overhead cranes are the silent workhorses of industrial progress. They're the unseen backbone of countless industries, playing a role in everything from automobile assembly lines to mega construction projects, shipbuilding, steel manufacturing, and warehousing. Without them, large-scale modern production simply wouldn't exist. So, what makes an overhead crane so special? Let's break it down. An overhead crane is essentially a mechanical system designed to lift and transport heavy loads horizontally across a workspace. Unlike mobile cranes that move freely on wheels, or tower cranes that dominate skylines, overhead cranes are fixed systems. They operate on rails, running back and forth along tracks mounted to the building structure, with a trolley and hoist moving in perpendicular directions. This design gives them three axes of motion: forward and backward, left and right, and of course, up and down. What this means in practice is absolute precision. Imagine a factory where multiple tons of steel beams need to be positioned within millimeters of accuracy. Or a warehouse where heavy machinery must be lifted and shifted safely across long distances. An overhead crane does this effortlessly. It replaces hundreds of human workers and countless forklifts, delivering strength, precision, and safety all at once. Now, let's talk about types. Not all overhead cranes are the same. In fact, they are customized depending on the industry and the specific tasks they are meant to handle. The most common type is the single girder crane, where a single horizontal beam supports the trolley and hoist. These are lighter, more economical, and often used in workshops or smaller factories. Then we have the double girder crane, which, as the name suggests, uses two beams. This design gives more strength, higher lifting capacity, and greater stability. These are common in heavy industries like steel production and shipbuilding. There are also gantry cranes, similar in concept but supported on legs that move along rails at ground level instead of being suspended from a building's ceiling. These are perfect for outdoor work, like shipping yards or large-scale construction sites. And then there are jib cranes, smaller yet highly flexible machines with a rotating arm, ideal for tasks that require more localized movement. But no matter the type, the heart of every overhead crane is its hoist system. This is the mechanism that actually lifts the load, powered either electrically or hydraulically. A modern electric wire rope hoist, for example, can handle massive weights with surprising smoothness and speed. Advanced systems even come with variable frequency drives, which allow operators to control acceleration and deceleration precisely, preventing sudden jerks that could damage both the crane and the load. Now, let's step into the world of numbers. Because this is where the sheer scale of these machines blows the mind. An overhead crane can lift anywhere from a few hundred kilograms in a small workshop, to well over 500 tons in massive industrial environments. That's the equivalent of lifting a fully loaded Boeing 747 passenger jet straight off the ground. And they do this with complete control, minimizing sway and ensuring the safety of both operators and equipment. But strength alone is not what makes these machines special. It's their role in shaping industries. For example, in the automotive world, overhead cranes are indispensable. Imagine a car assembly line where engines, chassis parts, and body panels need to be moved continuously with precision. Forklifts simply cannot do that job effectively. Overhead cranes glide above the production floor, lifting engines directly into place with robotic consistency. Without them, mass automobile manufacturing as we know it would not exist. In steel plants, overhead cranes handle molten metal in ladles that can weigh hundreds of tons. In shipyards, they move entire ship sections into place. In construction, they help assemble bridges and skyscrapers. And in warehouses, they streamline logistics, moving heavy materials quickly and safely from one point to another. In essence, wherever there is progress, there's usually an overhead crane at work behind the scenes. Now, let's talk about technology. Because modern overhead cranes are not just about brute force. They are smarter than ever. Advanced models today come equipped with anti-sway technology, where sensors and control systems minimize swinging of the load. Some systems are semi-automated or even fully automated, capable of following programmed paths and lifting operations without human input. And with the rise of the Internet of Things, overhead cranes can now be connected to monitoring systems that track performance, maintenance needs, and safety data in real time. This means less downtime, higher productivity, and safer operations. Safety, of course, is paramount. Operating an overhead crane requires skill, training, and strict adherence to safety protocols. These machines are lifting thousands of kilograms over workers' heads, so features like emergency stop systems, overload protection, limit switches, and fail-safe brakes are not just extras, they are life-saving essentials. In fact, modern cranes are engineered to minimize human error as much as possible, ensuring that even in the most challenging environments, risks are reduced. But here's something that often gets overlooked: the engineering elegance of an overhead crane. Yes, they are huge, heavy, and sometimes intimidating. But the way they are designed, balancing structural strength with mechanical precision, is nothing short of art. Every steel girder, every wheel assembly, every gear and motor is calculated to perfection. And the result is a machine that can carry out tasks that seem almost impossible. Let's also consider efficiency. One overhead crane can replace multiple forklifts, reduce labor costs, increase speed of operations, and dramatically improve workflow in factories and warehouses. And because they operate above the ground, they also free up valuable floor space, making workplaces less cluttered and more productive. Looking forward, the future of overhead cranes is even more exciting. Imagine fully autonomous cranes that work 24/7, powered by AI, analyzing loads, adjusting movements, and predicting wear and tear before it even happens. Combine that with clean energy sources, and we're looking at machines that are not just powerful, but also environmentally sustainable. So, what's the takeaway here? An overhead crane may not have the glamour of a luxury car or the thrill of a superbike. It may not turn heads on the street or roar down highways. But in its own way, it is every bit as fascinating. It is the backbone of industries, the silent force lifting the weight of progress, and a perfect example of how human ingenuity transforms steel, motors, and wires into something that reshapes our world. For AZ Automotives Review, this is more than just another machine. It's a reminder of how far engineering has come, and how machines that often stay out of the spotlight are actually the heroes of modern civilization. So next time you see a factory skyline with cranes moving silently above the floors, take a moment to appreciate the sheer genius behind them. Because without overhead cranes, our cars, our ships, our bridges, and even our cities would not stand the way they do today. And that wraps up today's review of the overhead crane, an industrial giant that deserves every bit of respect. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most important machines in the industrial world, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to AZ Automotives Review, and stay tuned for more cinematic explorations into the world of engineering, vehicles, and machines that power our lives. Until next time, keep your eyes on innovation, because the machines of tomorrow are already being built today.